welcome to episode 5 of Rewire Your Brain, Rewrite Your Future. If you're tuning in for the first time, I'm Coach John McLernan from Freedom Nutrition Coaching, and our motto is lose weight, love life, and never diet again. So Rewire Your Brain, Rewrite Your Future, it's a bit of a tongue twister. That's my daily-ish, I say daily-ish, mini podcast where I break down the obstacles that are holding you back from the results that you want to achieve. Now we're going to do this by tackling this from an entirely different perspective than the diet industry. So Instead of trying to force you into restrictive rules that feel like a straitjacket, we're going to tackle this challenge at the source, and that is your brain. So I like to call this brain-driven weight loss, and you might wonder where I got the title for my podcast, and it's in reference to our brain's ability to literally rewire new behaviors and unwire old habits, such that we can create an entirely new lifestyle. You know what's amazing? Scientists used to think that our brains were fixed and you're just stuck with the same brain for the rest of your life once you reach adulthood. And now we know it's not true. Neuroplasticity is this brain's amazing ability to rewire itself. You'll have seen this happen if you've ever seen, met, known, or had in your family someone who suffered a stroke and seen them make what seems like a dramatic recovery, like learning to speak or learning to walk and so on. This is not an old part of the brain that died getting revived. It's a new part of the brain creating entirely new pathways. So we have that power in our brain every single day. And, you know, I like to say that if you want to see where you're headed with your future health, look at your current daily habits because they are the predictor of your future health. And if you want to change your future, you have to change your habits and how you're living. So today I want to tackle what I call the resolution mindset. We could also call this the Monday mindset, but essentially, New Year's resolutions are the epitome of trying to make massive sweeping changes. So I want to tackle the mindset behind that. Because, you know, New Year's resolutions are useless unless you do this one thing. But take a step back. If you think back to year after year, New Year after New Year, do you find yourself falling into the same pattern of behavior repeatedly? So we're already partway through the year, unless you happen to be listening to this on January 1st. But when the next year rolls around, do you find yourself thinking something like, this is finally the year where I change everything? So when we think about large-scale changes, like plans we often make on New Year's or any other special day of the year, it's exciting. It's very exciting because in our brain, what's happening is we're imagining how we're going to feel when we accomplish our goals. So we love the idea of creating massive change. It feels like in the beginning that we're going to have endless motivation. So in the resolution mindset, we end up, because we're so excited about accomplishing our goals, we end up feeling like the universe is somehow going to conspire and create the perfect conditions for us to accomplish our goals. Now, on top of that, we imagine that because, say a new year roll around, that magically with all this motivation, that we're suddenly going to be changed, dramatically into this new virtuous human being. But if you want to predict how the next year is going to go, the next 12 months for you, look at your habits and behaviors over the last 12 months. Because the behaviors that we repeat are the behaviors that get wired into our brain. So we overestimate how much we can accomplish in a very short window of time, a few weeks or even a few months. But we massively underestimate what we can do if we stretch out that time frame, right? So for example, if you think back to, let's say January of the previous year when you started out, and then December of the past year, there was probably a lot of change that took place over those 12 months, but it didn't happen overnight. It happened because of certain behaviors that essentially get repeated daily. And what those behaviors are determine whether or not that change was positive. So when you're trying to introduce change into your life, the key is you need to make small adjustments over time, because if you try to create these giant sweeping changes all at once, what happens is you trigger what I call the emotional brick wall. Your brain is so attached to your current habits and so resistant to change that if you try to massively introduce like major change all at once, your brain will put up a brick wall. And before you know it, you find yourself stuck right back into old habits. And so you have to be clever here. Like if you want to create permanent results, you have to work with your brain the way your brain works. For example, if you are trying to establish an activity habit, start doing daily exercise. Instead of saying, I'm going to go to the gym 5 times a week for an hour, say, I'm going to go for a 5-minute walk every day. Instead of saying, I'm going to cut out all carbs, swap your morning bagel for some eggs. Instead of swearing off all alcohol, drink one drink less or one night less, every night of the week kind of thing. These are examples of what I call CMGs, or can't miss goals. So what we're doing here is we're making the changes so small, so simple, so doable that it's nearly impossible to miss them, because the actual magnitude of the behavior is far less important than the repeatability of that behavior. So if we want to rewire new habits into our brain, they need to be so small, so simple that we can easily repeat them every single day, because creating a new lifestyle, a healthier lifestyle, is not about this abrupt, massive, sweeping change. It's about the small behaviors we repeat every day, almost like brushing your teeth. Now, here's the amazing thing. As these habits get established, they not only get easier and easier, they grow. So small habits are like seeds. They start small, but day after day, as they get nurtured, they grow and they grow. And instead of being so focused on, trying to fix all of your bad habits, these new behaviors, as they grow and expand, they actually begin to just crowd out your old bad habits. So here's an example. You might have heard this analogy that if a plane on takeoff will alter their nose by 1 degree, they can end up hundreds of miles off course or at an entirely different destination. So if you think about an honest reflection on your current behaviors, are your current lifestyle behaviors like flying you straight towards a future with heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and more? But that 1 degree shift can radically change your future from one like with miserable health to one with vibrant health, waking up with energy, like loving your life. And that's not to say your life is going to be perfect, but it's going to be dramatically different than where it's presently at. And so the point of this daily podcast is exactly that. We want to improve your course by 1 degree every day. Every day, this is your reminder and opportunity to create the small shift you need to create massive change over time. And so I want to invite you. I put out this call to action on nearly every episode because these are little mini episodes. If you want to make this next 12 months, your best year yet, I'd love to hop on a call with you. It's like if this is the year that you want to rewrite your future. You want to change your course to one that is filled with health, energy, loving your life, then get in touch. Drop me a message, leave me a comment, and I'll make sure that I leave a link in the description where you can easily book a time to hop on a strategy call. And on this call, here's what's going to happen. We're going to look at your individual specific circumstances, and we'll look at exactly for you how we can make those tiny changes and adjustments to ultimately lead you to that massive change. And look, here's the thing. Even if you decide not to work with me, because this call isn't a sales pitch. This is about showing exactly what can happen if you get on the right course, right? So even if you decide not to work with me, I guarantee that you're going to leave that call with better clarity than you've ever had before for what you need to do to create the change that you've been working so hard to get to. So that's it for me today. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you found this helpful, feel free to leave a like, drop a comment, drop a review, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Take care and chat soon.